Hi guys, how are you? Welcome to this week's episode of the Car Weekly Roundup, one for the love of cars Uganda. I am Arthur and I'm bringing the news to you. You guys recently voted, of course yesterday, 65% so far have voted that we should start doing this weekly roundup live. Ngamu TV. So my team already knows and they are working it out so that we see how can we do it nga TV nga take your graphics mabega byonanga biri live and mwe ngabe mulaba daily show bwebera. So my team is actually working it out. I hope it works out very well. God willing, we might be able to do it next Saturday to away cook a sample, but again how we can broadcast this thing live. Atenabo, it's the work reduces because bwetuba tuchikola live chitegeza na ubakola rumu ne bagende ka editing ebera okuset nakati we are recording, the editor has to work out and all that. But anyway, this is a weekly roundup, car weekly roundup, where we present all the news in the car scene, on the car scene biche bigenda maso nga bikwata kufe abagale motoka about addicted to cars. You know what? The people that will choose the car over most of the things that happen because the car doesn't disappoint if you give it good service. Yeah. Come on, jump. And of course, we have quite a number of news, and then we are also going to be we're going to be comparing two particular engines. Yeah, we're going to be comparing the 1KZ and the 1KD engine. Both these are diesel engines. You'll find them in Toyota Hiluxes, you'll find them in Toyota vans like the Hiaces. Yeah, and of course, sadly, Cooper Motor Corporation, you guys know Cooper Motor Corporation. Recently, these past few years, they were tunda tractors, yeah, and agricultural equipment. They are in the entire East Africa, Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, and sadly, they are closing. I have a letter here from Cooper Motor Corporation, and they are saying that the Cooper Motor Group to cease operations in East Africa. And it's dated 17th January in Nairobi, which I think is like the head office in East Africa. Cooper Motors Group has announced its decision to gradually wind operations in Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda in full compliance with the local regulations and distributorship agreements. Of course, you guys understand now, they have been distributing and they have had distributors and they have probably been distributing to government, and also they have running contracts, so they are working on those. The decision follows a thorough evaluation of the business in light of sustained market challenges, including economic pressures, currency depreciation, and rising operational costs. Over the past 40 years, CMC Motors Group has played a vital role in supporting East Africa's agriculture sector through the delivery of quality service, mechanization solutions, and steadfast support to its customers. However, despite restructuring efforts, and this is when a business is not working out, they try to make it work. They get financial officers, they get other marketers, and transformational programs. Initiated in 2023, the market conditions have not provided a sustainable path forward. And you guys have been telling you on the live broadcasts that whenever you start business, whenever you do business, you want to also look at how sustainable can it grow. Is it on a growth path, or it is stagnant, or probably they figured that it's going down. The company is committed to supporting its employees during the transition and will ensure a smooth and orderly wind down in adherence to all relevant agreements and regulations. Yeah, and then it's signed by Claire Lawson, who I'm thinking is the CEO of the group. So, in the past, we have seen other companies close down. We saw Game, we saw ShopRite. Yeah, a lot of big operations have been closing down here in Uganda, and most of them closed down because of what is going on in our economy. Currencies are not good. The currency depreciation is not good. Some closed down because of government regulations, and others will simply close down because of the political environment. We all know that African political environments are not very healthy. I find that Africans are the most selfish people. They are the most selfish. And if we don't talk about this, we may never address the actual challenges that we have. Most of the challenges we have in Africa and in Uganda in particular are because we are selfish individuals. You find a minister acting selfishly, making sure that business operations of other people don't be successful as long as they don't get money out of them. You find roads not constructed because the engineer in charge is not letting it go as long as it doesn't make a cut. You find bids not given to the right people because the right people are not giving a kickback. I don't even know why we go to church as Africans, because and Cooper Motors might not be saying the actual thing. You might find that most of East African countries, the ministers in charge everywhere have failed them, and they are not going to say it because you guys have had stories of someone getting a government project, and of course agriculture revolves around the government. Someone getting a government project and they get 10 billion and 5 billion has to go to kickbacks. Nenga atomulimo alina kukolagwa 10 billion and they end up in prison. I find that most of the problems we have in Africa are not because of Satan. For the guys that believe that analogy, you'll forgive me. I believe that most of the problems we have are because of us, the individuals. We are very selfish, and I hope that one day we can get leaders that are not as selfish as most of the leaders we have right now in Uganda. I'm embarrassed. I am embarrassed to actually be born and raised and live in Uganda with the kind of leadership we have, with the kind of ministers we have, with the kind of all leaders, basically all leaders. We have a lot of selfishness. You guys know that Donald Trump is swearing in on Monday. Yeah, he's swearing in on Monday. And among the things that are happening, of course, TikTok is slated to be banned on Sunday night in the US. Yeah, Congress passed a law that says if TikTok, the Chinese company ByteDance that owns TikTok, if they don't sell TikTok to an American company, they have to close down because of security reasons. Yeah, they are saying that TikTok takes data of the US citizens. I'm still wondering when we will get something. We'll get something like that from the Ugandan parliament, where they actually care about the people. Majority of the time when you hear parliament talking about stuff passing laws, is the laws that are meant to suppress the Ugandan. Yeah, amateka gonna give isagaliwo kunyigiriza abana Uganda, and surprisingly even the MPs that we would look at, and the MPs we used to respect, I would expect that like for example, not to disrespect this gentleman, Honorable Nsereko. I would expect that before he leaves Parliament, he would probably give us a law that is mind-blowing, something that we would say, oh my God, Onogai are exposed. But apparently, the one thing that he has done is the computer misuse, which doesn't in any way impact us. And then you saw a Parliament, a lady in Parliament bringing the law that says, they bring funny laws, yeah, against divorce and all those things, yeah. Katibonga, those are the things that matter here in Uganda. That's why I'm telling you, Satan has nothing to do with the things that are happening in Africa. Yeah, but Donald Trump is going to swear in, and I watched a clip on CNN. They are saying that Monday is one of the holiest days in politics in the US. The holiest days. Why? Because on that day, every couple of years, every time they vote a new president, on that day a new president comes in, and of course a former president goes out. Like Biden is supposed to take down his photos, the portraits, and then Trump's portrait is supposed to go up. You guys have you seen the portrait while Donald Trump is posing like this? It's not like the normal straight portraits by presidents where they sit straight and they're supposed to intimidate you. It's supposed to be something that is fun. People are going to walk into government offices and they look up at their president's picture and they're like, oh, this guy is funny. You get, yeah? And I don't think it's one of those pictures that has been really like prepared. But what am I saying? But it's amazing what is happening elsewhere, and it's depressing majority of the things that are happening here. And if we don't talk about these things, people will think we are okay with them. We are not okay. I saw Yanyono guy. He's a former classmate in marketing. Apostle Nalibo Jonathan Ngagamba. These people seem to think we are happy. Ngabagaroka kasante tuli basanyufu babeko gwe babika. Babeko gwe babika. babeko gwe babika kakilipu kakaawo kabakabalage
abo abantu bwe bagamba nti tubaagala bakere bakali batulimbeko bulimbi batugambe nti omu yafudde and you see how this Kampala will go into a celebration we bamugamba nti kale tubaagala nnyo muli batufu mulina obuwagizi mukere mutukiineko bukinyi nti gundi yafudde. We see if there will not be celebrations in Kampala. In the last past election they declared the win and there was no celebration in the entire Uganda. I didn't say any celebration because the Bible is clearly telling us that when the righteous thrive, the people rejoice, and when the wicked rule, the people groan. I'm tired of seeing the clergy. For the only time they would say you don't speak about politics, but for them they want to speak about politics when they've been called to State House to go and receive packages and receive envelopes. Ezo sani ngate bakira ne bazigana. Ne bagamba nti tuli ba politics. Emoroka zibasabanga tetukere bazigana. Guys, we don't have any second home. This is our only home. That's why some of us are very passionate about these things. We are passionate about these things. We are passionate about these things because we don't have any other home, and the only home is here. Gwe nobona kaya no securing ekicho nze nsiba nkugamba omwana ojja muzimbira ekizimbe kibeere waawo, but one day because there is no rule of law aline mundu ajja kujja mugobemu, but because you do not fight for that justice.
babeko gwe babika bagambe gundi afudde nagamba after elections in the past nobody celebrated, but anyway that's a story for another day. Kuba abantu mungenda kumbuzo yagala drone ya kalachi nze sagala drone. I believe ebintu byenjoga tebina gwe benyiza otherwise atekati anyigira kuba kirabika nimba. So Kiira Motors Corporation is closing, not just in Uganda by the way. That's why all my statements are blanket for Africa, because Kiira Motors Corporation is closing in Tanzania, they are closing in Kenya as well, and in Uganda. And for long, me personally, I've been asking myself, how do these companies make money, especially the ones that sell machines, tractors, and all those things? But I think Kiira Motors Corporation is now not doing very well because their market has been taken away by some of the small players. Abantu bangi abatunda bu tractor kati, aba China benyini kati beeretedde ebintu mu katale, abantu begendere China ne beeretedde ebintu. So Kiira Motors Corporation probably should not be blaming government alone. Maybe they should have change strategy but however much that in their letter they cite a number of reasons which might all be true, but I want us to understand as a people that Ugandans now and East Africans have access to information. They know where to get things on the cheap, and some of these big corporations have for long been thriving on selling things to us expensively. So now, unless you are like the sole distributor of something like that, or maybe you have a patent to develop a certain tractor, then it's very easy for a Ugandan or a Kenyan or a Tanzanian to go to China and make that tractor or import a tractor that does almost the same. You have seen the same thing is happening here. Things are going round. Lorry drivers used to move things. Ngabasengula abantu. Tukutukus came. Tukutukus are cheaper, they consume less fuel, and yet they take almost the same load like a Kayongeza or Town S. You get? So abantu ba shifting away, and people are buying double cabin trucks now. People have access to information. They know where to find stuff. Like this channel gives access to information, access to people, and now they know things they never used to know. Now, if it wasn't for this channel, many of you would not have known that Kiira Motors Corporation is closing. And of course, they have not been doing very well for some time. If you walk by their branch right now in Kampala or by their office in Kampala, you realize that they're not really doing very well. But anyway, we wish them luck wherever they are going, and I hope in the other regions they are doing okay. And may they be replaced by someone that probably has a better approach. Abana batunda sola abo, abana batunda tractor obo butono, abana batunda machine obo boze motoka. They have taken away their market, a lot of their market. Abantu kati bagenda ku ground mu kyalo ne batunda bu sprinklers, bagenda ku ground ne batunda obo tractor obo mukono obo. Kiira Motors Corporation. Emyaka jona, I think they have tried their best, but best of luck to you guys. And of course, Kiira Motors Corporation is my writer here, Agambi. Kiira Motors Corporation drives Uganda automotive future. I have no idea how they are doing that, because we're not seeing that anywhere. Apart from the buses, of course, they're doing a very good job with the buses, but they have a capacity of producing 2,500 vehicles annually. I don't know if they produce that much, but that's the capacity they have. But they are moving to scale up and start producing, to have a capacity of producing 5,000 vehicles annually by 2030, which together. And then, of course, now their goal is to be able to get 65% of the parts produced locally. So if you are an engineer and you know how to produce car parts, this might actually be the time for you to go and try and talk to the Kiira Motors and tell them, you know what, guys, I can actually produce these parts for you. if you can produce things like ball joints, you can produce things, because they want 65% of the parts produced here. Amabati go nchimanyi bagakolera wano, frame nchimanyi bazikolera wano, byuma byokka balengaza naye ebyuma babikola wano kati. So I'm thinking you might find that they are actually using like 30% of engines okaze baleeta ndowooza, but these other parts I'm sure we can produce here. And there are so many things that are produced locally that you might not know. And of course, on top of that, these guys are asking for more money. Yeah, they are asking, on top of the budget they have, they are asking for an extra 524 billion. Of course, you guys need to know, Kiira Motors Corporation is owned by the government. It's a government company. They already have 100 acres where they produce their cars, but they're asking for an extra 524 billion to be able to produce their cars. But then the Presidential Affairs Committee in Parliament has also recommended that they be allocated an additional 134 billion to support growth, underscoring the role in Uganda's industrialization agenda. So they have about 200 employees right now, but they plan to extend and get about 900 employees. So of course, the only thing they are doing right now, according to what I know, is the buses, the e-buses. I'm going to try and find their corporate communications person or their marketing person. I'm looking for all these guys. It's not very easy to get a hold of these guys, but I'm looking for them. And one of these broadcasts or one of these weekly roundups will be getting one by one for them to try and give us their take on development in their own organizations. But Kiira EV is definitely doing very well with the buses. You guys have seen the buses, Ginger Road. You have seen them around around town. But I find that for us to feel their impact, they should start creating e-vehicles for us as normal Ugandans. But the company will actually grow faster. I don't know if that's something that is sustainable or something that is doable, but I find that Kiira EVs or Kiira Motors Corporation is a company that will grow faster if it's selling to the mass market. You guys know the B2C market is unlimited. There are so many people that have a lot of money. I sat in one of the electric vehicles here, the small ones. It's very uncomfortable. I find that a mountain changer might be more comfortable. But if Kiira EV would create small cars like the Pasos, like the Vitz, shaped like that, small like that, and they give them to us at about 30 million, because right now a Vitz is 30 million. If they gave me a brand new EV that has warranty from Kiira EV at 40, I'll definitely buy it. I know many of you would buy it. So I hope whoever is in charge of development at Kiira EV follows this channel, which I know he must be following. Like if you don't follow for the love of cars, ngoli mu business ya Moroke Kampala, ani go following Kasuku Live. Of course, I know you guys follow Kasuku Live, and I also know some of you follow Panado Abasajja, and I also know some of you follow which other person. But everybody at Kiira Motors Corporation that is in a decision-making thingy should be following for the love of cars. Kubanga! But anyway, so that's it with Kiira EV. I hope they get the money they desire, and I totally hope that, unlike other places where money is stolen, that Kiira Motors Corporation, we won't see you in the news 10 years from now saying the CEO has stolen 100 billion or the CFO has built a mansion ng'ataba dafuna million 12 nembo azimbe mansion miezi ebiri. That's normally the story we get. You guys, I had a story a couple of years ago that the doctor Dr. Tanga Odoya bwe yayingira electoral commission ya NRM nazimbira apartment waliwo nazimbira ekizimbe wali ekisasi, and people were questioning like, okay, abadde yemizi mukaga kati nagula ettaka nazimba kalina, where does the money come from? Osegera nga mukama wafuna million 3 omwezi. But anyway, bino ebitulina byogerako bantu bangi okitegeera, so that abantu abamu tebabimanya bumanya naye nga olugambo lutambula. But anyway, Kiira Motors Corporation, I wish you luck with your ask for money. Now you're going to ask me how much money do they get annually? How much money do they get annually from the government? That's something that seems to be classified in the news that I was given here, seems to be classified. But anyway, I hope they give them the money and I hope they use it the right way. But whatever you guys do, the buses are definitely sustainable. The government has nothing to do but to buy from you. But you need to start selling to us. You can hire me as a consultant and sit me on the board, a consultant on normal people affairs. Nemba wa magezi daga tukole akamotoka bwe kati and all that. And then guys, of course, the East African Crude Oil Pipeline mujimanji baita EACOP. I'm proud of that project. I did have a chance to work with the people at EACOP, with Total Energies, and I'm happy. You know, there have been reports. They have had a lot of challenges with the EACOP. You guys know the East African Crude Oil Pipeline is the pipeline that's going to move oil from Uganda all the way to the coast, yeah, through Tanzania and all that. And they are almost set to be done. They have had a lot of challenges. People have been striking environment. The oil will have oil spills and all that. But we have oil. Can't we just extract the oil? And of course, there have been concerns that the government people will steal the money. We know our government doesn't have a very good reputation with honesty, apart from the time when they sit in church humbly. Ukitegera majority of them babbi. Ne president akimanyi babbi naye yagamba kasita babba ne kama katonda. Abasinga babbi. So, but and that those have been the concerns that the oil that is going to be extracted atekateba government bagenda jibba. And those are two. And then there has been another concern that the people where the pipeline is going to pass have not been compensated very well. I was part of the compensation, at least part of the process. And I saw that these people are compensating these guys very, very, very well. Baba was saying, Baba zimbira amayumba. So I find that the concerns that we have, the government should probably just put mechanisms in place to monitor the EACOP operations so that they are not dangerous for us as Uganda. But then they are almost there. In September 2024, they refused to receive the first batch of coated line pipes for construction, making tangible progress in the pipeline development. And what does this mean for us as car lovers? You guys need to understand that if the eco project is successful and we start getting money as a country, there are chances that the fuel costs are going to go down. Now, I'm going to reach out to Omami Gobaita Tony Otowa. He's very good. He was previously at the Stanbic Incubator, and now he's at the National Oil Company. And he's very good with communication. I'm trying to reach out to him to get his take on all this. I hope that my team can eventually meet him, and then we get the take that is not communication. I can ask all the questions that matter so that we understand what it really means. Of course, the fuel costs have gone down a bit. Namwe mugaraba kati amafuta gali mu Nyalunana at all major stations, like when nze nywa XL ya mali mu Nyalunana 5. And that if our oil starts coming out, we hope that then it will go low. So you guys should follow where the EACOP is currently, the East African Crude Oil Pipeline, so that you know. And of course the displacements, me at least I know firsthand that people are not being displaced, apart from the people bayine mitwe minene bamwa million bisatu ngagamba naye kakati bwe sigagawalira wano jagala lukaga ninge want kuwaluna 15 ukitegera. So I really hope that the development, of course in Hoima, the guys that know Hoima, I was in Hoima, I was in Mubende, I was in Masaka, and these places are getting development. Roads are being constructed. In Hoima, they even have an airport now. Hotels are coming up. The people are reaping a lot already from the East African Crude Oil Pipeline. And I hope that nafa bavuga uvuze motoka tunafuna masa nga mafuta gakoze iki. Gasaze bay. And of course, on January 14th, which was a Tuesday in Chamanuo, I hope that's the right spelling, Chanamo village, along Hoima Road, a fielder and a lorry collided. And the fielder is still new UBL. They collided, and of course, the eyewitnesses say the fielder got a flat tire and get duka, and then nerumba lorry. And they say the lorry driver survived. Of course, lorries are high up there. But whatever happened to the occupants of the fielder, nobody knows. How do we not know? Now, this accident might have happened, yeah? But and then the fielder and the lorry were both very damaged, like extensively. Of course, now the blame is on the fielder guy. Now, if the blame is on the fielder guy, like you're going to see there in the video, if the blame is on the fielder guy, I'm going to try and spew out some car knowledge here. One, when a car gets a flat tire, what are some of the possibilities? One, you have very bad tires, and this is something that you guys take for granted. emipiira ne gikendeerera ddala ne bamukwata emirundi esatu ng'agaba omutwalo ku basirikale. And then you forget that every time you give out bribes, you're putting your own life in danger. So if you're driving a car and your tires are worn out, don't go up country. Don't drive on a highway. And worse still, don't even overspeed. So that's the first possibility. Possibility number 2, your brakes have jammed and you're continuing to go. For the guys that have driven, especially the rear drums, for the guys that have driven a car with a jammed tire, you will tell me that you know that even the rim gets too hot. The rim gets too hot because of the heat generated by the brakes that have jammed up into the drum. Tezitambula, and that can lead to a tire burst. Now, what happens when a tire bursts and you're overspeeding? This guy is even lucky the car did not really overturn. The car can overturn. And instances where the car is not overturned, this simply means that either the person that is driving is very skilled, or they are just lucky, or they just hit the obstacle very soon. So if you're driving a car, first of all, don't overspeed. Secondly, like the guys that were in the live broadcast last night with Adeco Express, keep within the speed limit. Majority of the Ugandan roads, the speed limit is 80. And 80 kilometers per hour is quite high on our roads. Why? Because our roads are bad. They are tiny. One slight mistake like this, Oboto Medechi. The reason why the express says 100 kilometers per hour is because it's a 2-lane road. The chances of you colliding with another car are very limited. So try as much as possible to see. And then the other reason that sometimes people get tire bursts and they have not predicted, ompirago omuka gubadde gukendera okyaguvugirayo bwotyo n'oguvuga omusumali gusobola okugaziwa because of the too much pressure oba negubuguma, and then you get a tire burst. So be very careful. And fielder guys, abantu ba fielder, apparently I find that most of the fielder guys bwe baba tebamukase gula mipiira tayagala kugigula. The fielder bagirabira ddala nga G-touring, kuba abantu ba G-touring be bavuganga emipiira emikadde. Please, if you have a fielder, let's not even just talk about a fielder. If you have any car, normally most of the tires in Uganda go for 2 years. In 2 years omupiira guba guweddeko. In 2 years change a tire. In 2 years change tires, 4 of them. Okitegeera, in 2 years change 4 tires. Ogule emipiira emirala. In 2 years you should have made $1 million to buy extra tires. And I hope the person in the field survived. And probably the other thing that you guys should avoid is giving out your cars. If someone wants to borrow a car, let them go hire a car. Tomuwa moroka yojigenderamu mu kyalo. Okujjako ng'omwevugidde. One of the reasons why drivers escape ne babulawo nga bakoze accident is because the cars are not theirs. Abulawo n'agamba nnyini anaagino nayo. Don't give out your car. If someone wants to borrow a car, let them go and pay the normal rate, 150,000 to 200,000 a day if they're going up country. They will take care of that car more than they will take care of a car that belongs to their friend. Tozinze sazi kamotoka okujjako nkwevugira. I can drive you. But for me to give you my car again, okujjako nga nawe ondekedde iyo. Nga nkimanyi nti eyange bw'onoogyonona nyina gye nvuga. So don't give out your cars to anyone. And of course, you guys have seen a video circulating of a V8 that caught fire in Buziga around Kasumiro Bakaita Kings International. And the V8, Bagambe, it's an armored vehicle. That's what I kept hearing. It caught fire in the bonnet, and the fire did not spread out everywhere else. But I think it's because abantu bayanguye, that car must have even had a fire extinguisher. And of course, the number plates were removed, so no one would know. But the eyewitnesses say the number plates were government plates. It's possible that it was armored. Now, what could have caused that fire? Wiring. Definitely wiring. Wiring aleetera ddala ebizibu, guys. Aleeta ebizibu kati. In that case, if it's a government vehicle and the V8 as I see it, the wiring issue could have come from a battery, one, or it could have come from the sirens muno obutugombe bwe bateekamu oba obutaala. One mistake like this in a motoka eyako omuliro ng'ekwata. But of course the rest of the car is safe. They'll take it, respray it, buy a new engine, buy a new gearbox, and they'll be okay. Okitegera ne wana ebyo maaso bagenda gigwira bugulizi ndozi kati edde. You will not even notice it. Probably that's why they remove the number plates. Balina go bagenda ogiguza kati nga bamaze ogitereeza. So guys, whenever you're going to do wiring, you need to be very careful with whom you give your car to do wiring, and when they do, make sure you see where they have done so that you don't get short circuits. And in Australia on January 12th, there's a country, there's a road called Boro. Boro Road in Jenin Street. So a truck went and crashed into a power line. Over transformer. That's what happened. And of course, when that happens, you expect to have fires, you expect to have power outages. Yeah. And then, of course, Banabantu Bobangwa in Australia, they have emergency services as Angwa. If it were here, the time I was driving on the express and they were installing traffic lights and we had jam. Like a police patrol was literally parked across the road like this. Like, why do you do that? And then there was a police officer seated in Mutre Mabega. That. Why would you? Installation of traffic lights? You put signages that installation abantu baleke basigalenga batambula, but of course tutegeera byanjawulo and commanders are different. Ojja kwesanga nga that day omuntu yakomandinga ekiyalaba nga kyekikola, but of course later on in the day lunaku lwe lumu amasanyazi gaali gazzeeko nga n'emmotoka zitambula normally nga neyagudde ku accident bamugjeewo. In Scotland, Bucky, kifuba kiyita Bucky, on 14th, a 70-year-old woman died. Yabadde avuga ka Nissan Micra. For the guys that don't know Nissan Micra, you see how small a person is. The Nissan Micra is smaller. Kalinga kamotoka kali aka Mr. Bean, the Mr. Bean vehicle. So a lady 78 years was driving a Nissan Micra, and then she crashed into, or the lorry, heavy goods vehicle crashed into the Nissan Micra, obviously. Omukyala ye yafiiriddewo. Of course she was airlifted. Munyonyi. Tuituka wano nga minister bokasi bavuga munyonyi. Funa accident awo ku express ne baleeta ennyonyi next door paka Mulago. Mu Uganda empya kireka gye bijja okubeera. Ne kati it's only ministers that are airlifted. Naye mwe abatusuubiza Uganda empya, you better bring the Uganda empya because enkadde tugikooye. So but of course the lady was airlifted to the hospital for treatment naye n'afa, and then the heavy goods vehicle was being driven by a big man. Musajja mukadde wa myaka 58 yabadde avuga. They arrested him for careless driving and all that. And then the road remained closed. That must have been a nasty accident for 12 hours, yeah? And then, of course, investigations. I don't know what investigations they are looking for, because it's obvious the lorry and the Micra crashed. And when you come and measure, you would know who made the mistake. At what are you investigating? I don't even get this thing with police. Globally, who is always saying we are investigating. And of course, the United States of America, they have finalized arrangements to effectively ban Chinese vehicles. And by Chinese vehicles, we are talking about vehicles that have components that are made in China, that have software that is made in China. As long as the car is majorly made in China, bagenda jiga no kuyingira America. Now, it seems like they're protecting manufacturers, but they're actually protecting themselves. China is a superpower right now. China has taken over everywhere. I'm holding this phone. It's Samsung, but it's a Chinese Samsung. This microphone was made in China. Yeah, quality of sound. You know, quality of sound in China. That's how much power China has. So what they are doing is that they are stopping electric vehicles from China. What they have concerns, of course, that the Chinese manufacturers or the Chinese government can collect sensitive information. Remember, when we sit in cars, we talk about stuff. When we sit in cars, we share secrets. And especially the EVs, they can listen in. They can learn. Mumanyi AI wabadali developed. So the Biden administration has finalized. I think that's the one thing that Biden wants to do before he leaves. And so they are national security. For the guys that have watched FBI movies, national security. One thing I'm asking, FBI film, and then we see an FBI agent nga atambula nga inali smart ngulabira ddala ali serious. When would we see some such officers here? Like natugamba wuyo gundi wa CID naitawo ne mugamba yeah. I'm not saying that our officers are not officers, but man, abantu ba officer bafe buli afuna ranka nene nga agejja olubuto twakoma ku lokechi yali talina lubuto mpozi ne kawesa nene gundi neno gayo ono gwe basiba ono yali IGP Kayihura naye tagejja naye ati yako gatwagala abasajja kusula ku byuma aitewo tugambe ya oyo nakwata koti okitegeera and you know even like we know these guys have training and akwata I saw a joke, a meme. Ono guy wa mitani oyo guy joking ku TikTok n'agamba mbu yagenze omusajja w'amagye yabye mukazi we n'agenda n'amuyira soda omusajja w'amagye yamukutte ati n'amukwata n'amugamba kati yo sample you're going to see the results tomorrow yakidde eriiso lizimbi ne bamugamba yafunye blood clot kati yes we know you guys are capable of that but we need to see some guys you guys olaba omuntu ng'akuuma omukulembeze naye nga olaba guy tali fit ng'olaba omukuba like we need to see some guys nga siba mbuto osaya tulaba nga macho tubyagala nga bwe tubiraba mu FBI movies. Like we have not seen an ame guy ngalinga the rock. We want to see those things. Wachige tetwagala bwagazi bire mu speculation baka ne mukala bako katona ko naye nga kakutteko. Yes we know you bo tukwata ko bonkwata ko nkuba. But I want to be scared. Yeah, but there's a gentleman, he's in police obviously. Namukolera ko inspection. Nenga ye. Actually, we had known he was a police officer. Yajango yuzo was a rugby player. Inchimanyi he's watching this video. He was ngalyat ngamaso osigira ngomulabira ddala ngoga kati ono omusajja ono yetagana alyako ku masavu. Of course tebaba wa masavu neri gye baba wanayo. I think in a way you would understand it, but twetagayo ku musajja ne bamuwobwa kati olaba nga FBI kuba kimanyi CID FBI yafe sicho but of course aba basajja mbalaba bwayogera bwati olaba nga ayogedde bamaanyi wane ekibuli bagamba bwoyingirayo bwoti ngoyingidde okufulumayo. But of course twagala abanoonyereza. You guys have seen these guys abanoonyereza nga baba tebagambye oyo yanoonyereza. Twetagayo omuntu nga kwe bajja bati ku scene oga they have come mulaba mu film bajja naliga Arthur Kisenyi FBI. We want to see Arthur Kisenyi CID. Akanga mwati tunetaga police officers kende mu gym you get 6 packs. It's nice. You will be proud. Mulaba America are proud kuba abantu babo aba police. Omusajja janga ayambadde uniform ya police mulaba kyekyo. Naye omusajja akuyimiza kukuba buti ng'okimanyi bw'ova mu motoka n'odduka akwata mu motoka akwesonyiwa wesonyiwa tasobola kukugoba. We need to see oli omusajja gwe nako ya inspection mu butuufu nga nkimanya akugoba n'akukwata. But anyway so the US is banning electric Chinese vehicles because of national security. And we need also our term. Twetaga term yafe nga boli aba America by national security. But anyway, guys, I think generally the police doesn't have a very good image mu bantu. I want to think that one of the things that makes people proud of their nation is the police, the army. But they are proud of the forces, yeah? They are really proud of their nation. They are proud of their president. They'll be proud of the nation. You see how people are proud that on Monday, yes, some of them don't really like Trump, but they like the fact that they transition power. President wabajanga tategeera ninga akyuse. Kati ffe mu Africa twagala nnyo okubeera n'abantu abategeera ennyo bwe mufuna omuntu ategeera mulowooza abalala tebajja kusobola kutegeera okitegeera nga agamba okutegeera kulina monopoly tufuneyo omulala nga tategeera naye nga tukyusizza mwe mujja laba patriotism wano ng'erinnya. But anyway and of course in Sweden there is a company called Polestar. It's Sweden based by Chinese control. It was founded in 2017. They make electric vehicles and they are not doing very well. They are planning to close, although they still have hope. Like in 2024, the quarter three a quarter yokusatu. There are 4 quarters, yeah? Jan, Feb, March, 1 quarter. April, May, June, 2 quarters. July, August, September, 3rd quarter. That quarter, they made a loss of $323 million, and that's a big loss. And they have been struggling, and they are going to continue to struggle. The fact that in the US now, Chinese EVs, Chinese vehicles are going to be banned. I think that these companies, Chinese control, they'll have to do a lot to make sure that that they can still sell. And the US market is big. The US market is big, so they have to adapt. But of course, the new CEO, Michael Lohshela, I don't know Lohshela. But I'm sounding that's South African. Lohshela. Sweden, Michael Lohshela is saying he's going to boost sales by 30 to 35% over the next 3 years. But in 3 years, if every quarter they lose 323 million. Now, so they have a loan. They already processed a loan of 800 million, and they are planning to get an extra loan of 400 million US dollars to increase to increase production. But where are they going to sell the EVs? First of all, EVs are very expensive, and then they have that hiccup of Biden. So it means olaba losi gye bakola in 2024 the quarter 3 buli mmotoka gye baatunda baakola kolosi. And of course you cannot know these things if you don't have figures. But in 2024 quarter 3 they made a loss of $25,740 per vehicle they sold. That's bad. They made a loss of more than 25,000 USD per car sold. Kitegeeza tebalina mmotoka gye baakolako yadde ekikumi. Bano betaaga migwawo. Like how? If you're making losses, you definitely have to decrease the operational costs. But of course, I'm talking from an angle that I don't know. And Chrysler in the US is planning to pause development. And development, for the guys that don't know, is where they are starting to create new stuff. They are pausing development. Basigalenga producing already, they were producing. Why? Because they have a lot of challenges in sales. Buying challenges in nyingi. For example, they have a car they call the Chrysler Airflow they have been producing. They have been developing. They have paused that. Why? Because they have challenges. For example, they recalled 129,000 vehicles for safety concerns. Yeah? And people are disappointed now because Chrysler is big. It's among the big 3 in the US, the big 3 automakers in the US. But now they have to stop. They wanted to release that the Chrysler Airflow in 2028. They have had a number of setbacks, which they discontinued, like the 300 sedan and station wagon in 2023. And then of course, they have some minivans like the Pacifica and the Voyager. Izo minivans zibadde zibakolera bulungi nnyo, but they have a lot of challenges and times are tough. I hope that with stopping of the Chinese motor vehicles coming into the US, Chrysler can come up. For the guys that don't know Chrysler in the past made this ugly vehicle, and you guys, you have seen it in Uganda. And I remember in the lockdown, some lady wanted to sell it to me at 5 million. I said I can buy anything. And the mechanic najin nemesa nga nayaje yagaliza. It was a new number plate at that time. I think it was like a UBA. Atebi said yonzo atho kuvuga UBA. It's something that is big. But anyway, Chrysler they have, and for the guys, of course, their businesses in Uganda don't even know development. Nga yasanga ebintu byakoledda ngo kwamula obutunda nakola juice natunda ebintu nga amasimu. So you guys know nothing about development, but there are businesses that have to actually develop stuff. Like abantu aba developing amatara gano, getkozesa microphone yeno. Every year there is a development team that improves. Like this microphone kati model janyine izo ya 2015 nenga bayina 2020 model kati nga yeriko wira ka sound ntikali clear. Kati ate ya 2025 eteko kuba ka sound kali clear nnyo okusinga akeno. So those are the development teams. I'll make you feel nice. After that, I'll take you. In today's comparison on the Car Weekly Roundup, we are going to be comparing 4 engines. Yeah, we're going to be comparing 4 engines that are found in Toyota diesel vehicles. We're going to be comparing them, seeing which one should you be buying. And of course, I want to remind the guys that are driving diesel, we are testing Total Rubia. Total recently launched their new oil for the diesel vehicles called Rubia. It is said to be something that can make your engine safe. It can give it very good performance. It cools down your engine, lubricates properly, cleans it, doesn't clog it. So you guys, we are testing it to see how it performs. So go ahead, the guys that have diesel, abaina drone, abaina chikege, abaina Terrano, abaina Hilux, abaina L200. You guys that are drive Prado, go use the Rubia oil. It's something Total has with the Excelium that we tested last time. It has proven to be something that is really nice. So go ahead and try the Rubia. Let's talk about 4 engines. I want us to talk about the 1KZ. For you guys, remember the 1KZ engine. It was found in the Super Custom, the Toyota Granvia, the Toyota Regias. Mostly those cars, very popular, even in the Prados. The 1KZ engine was a very good engine. It was 3 liter. It was 4-cylinder inline, yeah. And it used to give you 130 to 145 horsepower. And we liked it because it has a lot of power. The injection was mechanical. Yeah, it had a turbo, and it was a fixed turbo. And I'm going to tell you some of the challenges it had. So it was very simple to manage. But it was expensive. and it's one of the most powerful engine. It's, if you know how to take care of it, the 1KZ can last a lifetime. Now, what were the alternatives at that time? We had the 3L and the 5L. That were the alternatives, because if you could not manage a turbocharged engine, or because of fuel consumption, you'll definitely switch to the 3L or the 5L. And we saw a lot of super customs that got upgrades, not really upgrades, changes. The owners changed from KZ to the 3L and the 5L because the KZ was really expensive and the 3L was very easy to manage. Now, then we got the improvement of the KD, the 1KD. Now, for the guys that know, the 1KD is in the newer vehicles, and the 1KD is a 3-liter steel 4-cylinder ngera bwolaba 1KZ. It's also turbocharged, but this one gives you more power. You remember, the KZ gives you a minimum of 130, the KD gives you 170 up to 190, compared to 145 from the KZ. And of course, torque, in terms of torque, the KZ will give you 289 Newton meters, yet the KD will give you 352 Newton meters. Now, in terms of technology, fuel technology, this one, the KD has a common rail. Common rail is something that is new. The new technology is not mechanical, so it uses power, and the common rail is good, but it's also a challenge for the KD engines. And then it also has turbocharged, and then it has injectors like any normal diesel. And then some of the maintenance, of course, is the injectors. I was talking about how to maintain a diesel engine. You need to service injectors, you need to service your nozzles. You need to make sure you change the air filter, diesel filter, and all that. Now, when the KD was brought to improve the KZ, then there is a 1GD. The 1GD is 2.8 liters. However, it gives you more power than the 1KD or the 1KZ, which are both 3 liters. And even in terms of torque, it gives you more torque. And then, of course, it has the advanced common rail technology. And then, of course, even the fuel mechanism is improved, so it gives you better fuel efficiency with high performance. And then it gives you better fuel economy than even the 1KD. The 1KD gives better fuel economy than the 1KZ, but then this one is much better, but it's very expensive to maintain. And then we have the 1HD, which is a 6-cylinder. 6-cylinder, it gives you up to 164 to 202 horsepower. It gives you 360 Newton meters of torque. And then this has also a fixed turbo or intercooled turbo. And the reliability is very reliable because it's mechanical, it's very easy to manage, but fuel economy is lower than all the other 3 engines. Where we would play, before we play. And of course, this week's car tip of the week is you should not give out your car for whatever reasons. Don't give your car to someone that can't buy a car. For whatever reason, if they don't think a car is a necessity, they should not be borrowing your car. If anyone thinks a car is not a necessity, when they need a car, they should go and hire a car from those companies that hire cars. Toya zika motoka. I've seen a lot of people get trouble with their cars because they have hired them out, or inajikubya yingini najonona gearbox najisula wao, because they feel that got an accident in the news. For example, you will find that someone lent that car to their friend, and then it got an accident. So always remember, as we get into 2015, as we get into 2025, 2015 is just easier to speak, but as we get into 2025 togaba motoka gisigaze bwaba yagala ina wayagala okulaga at least mwevugire omutwale. Don't forget, togaba motoka tota kisumuluzo tova mu mutto. Until next time, guys, thank you very much for being part of this Car Weekly Roundup. Have a good weekend.